Confirmed. Job 600 Parliament office building renovation was done with inferior materials, putting the $25 million taxpayers' money spent on the project in real jeopardy.
Where materials that we advised couldn't be used.
All these things should be removed, and people cannot be given contracts. From what I understand, they showed different materials to the clients and then eventually brought different materials to come and fix.
Tonight, there are calls for construction work to be suspended to allow for detailed investigations.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
Top Story is brought to you by Bond Financial Services, your success, our passion, Belacra Mineral Water, the new generation mineral water. It's also brought to you by Lifebuoy, still 100% better germ protection, and Blue Rose Limited, shelter for all. It cost $25 million of the taxpayers' money to renovate, but it has emerged that all that money is now at risk of going down the drain. It has been established that the Job 600 building renovation, which was to provide offices for all 275 members of Parliament, was done with inferior and substandard materials. It was detected today that the structure, yet to be completed, is already showing signs of decay. The Chinese firm, China State Hualong Construction Company, responsible for the renovation, has now been ordered to deconstruct all the fittings and structures found to be inferior. The chief resident engineer, Eko Benchi Angel, confessed to the MPs today that the renovation materials were simply not good for use.
I can cite myself places where there are issues. What I'm trying to say is that the contractor is obligated to provide materials of accepted quality as specified. So there are areas in which we have brought up some issues which they have to address.
The quality of work. Yeah. So by your assessment, what is the quality of work so far?
Yeah, quality-wise, let's say it's fair. There are a lot of areas, from my assessment, could have been much better.
So it's fair?
Yeah, but you see, across the board, when you take certain decisions, certain implications will come automatically. We had a situation, for example, where materials which had been procured 15 years ago, when the project was initiated first, was still available, and we had to use what we thought was fairly okay. You know, that material bit may not be the best, but a commitment has been made. It's been paid for. It's been sitting here. Unless it's totally bad, we're obligated to consider using them. And we have done that.
So if we are ranking from excellent and we are fair, then it means that we are in for trouble. It means that we are not getting value for money. When we are looking at from excellent and we are fair, actually that means that
we are not in trouble yet.
Consultant.
Yes, please.
So what is the given your own technical skills, would you have rejected those materials?
Oh, so there were materials that we advised couldn't be used.
Well, the startling revelations about the poor quality of work done so far on the Job 600 Parliament office building came to light during an inspection tour by Parliament Works and Housing Committee. Elton John Brobe was there for us and joins me here in the studio. We hear today that the building, although yet to be complete, is already showing signs of decay. How bad is it?
Well, Evans, a cursory look at the facility, I must say that the edifice is beautiful, but a cursory look at some of the fittings, I'm talking about the metal fittings, toiletries, one can tell, even from afar, that it has started rusting, basically due to the fact that the building is closer to the sea. And this is the reasons given by the site engineer. And from the ground floor all the way to the 13th floor, metal fittings are rusting, and that is creating serious cause for concern.
I see. And what sort of reaction did the team get when they went there? I'm sure some of the MPs have been having their say on this.
They are not happy, and indeed, I spoke to two of the MPs, Henry Korte, the ranking member on the committee, Joe Apia. They are demanding that the contractor decommission all the metal fittings and ensure that the proper thing is done. According to even Henry Court, he is aware that executive influence may have resulted in the contractor's decision to install inferior metal fittings that's already showing signs of decay. Let's listen to them.
My problem is the quality of materials that has been used here, bearing in mind that the building is located close to the sea. So most of the things that they were supposed, or one would have thought that they would use, should be materials, notwithstanding the sea breeze, can last very long. And that's where I have a problem. Because as you can see, most of the balustrades have started rusting. Look at this. This is not stainless. Well, if you ask me, my honest opinion, all these things should be removed. The consultant. But if I were the consultant, I'll have all these ones removed immediately. So we are using the taxpayers' money, and people cannot be given contracts. From what I understand, they showed different materials to the clients, and then eventually brought different materials to come and fix. And that's where I have a problem.
In terms of the edifice, it's wonderful, but in terms of the finishing, especially the toiletries, you know, I don't quite agree. And this balustrade is rusting. We have to get chrome aluminium balustrade that can take the breeze. Now this is rusting. You know, how can you put up such a wonderful edifice with this kind of inferior material? I think all these projects, it's an executive influence. Because they just want the job to be done. And I mean, how do you do such a thing? It's going to rust. It started rusting.
Now, those are views from some MPs on the Committee on Works and Housing. Thank you very much, Elting, for bringing us those additional details. Well, the chairman of the committee, David Tetasumin, has summoned officials of the Chinese construction firm to a meeting to explain why inferior materials were used. Listen.
I think there are a lot of questions members want to ask based on what we've seen. It's like they want details about some work that, you know, we think that should be done properly. So we want to engage them at a meeting to put across some of these concerns. So we'll be inviting you to that meeting as well, so that you will take the concerns on board.
But like I said, the committee will meet. We've made observations. We need to sit down before we draw conclusions. But definitely April is not cut to the two months.
And they have to rectify some other things too in terms of the finishing.
I'll be joined shortly by an expert in building safety who'll be joining us shortly to look at the implications of what we are hearing on this very important building. It's been in the works for several decades, but we can now speak to a member of the Works and Housing Committee, Joe Appiah. Thank you, sir, for your time here on Top Story. My question is, these renovation works have been ongoing since 2007, we understand. What sort of supervision did Parliament exercise to ensure that the taxpayers' money was being spent properly? In other words, why are we finding out about this now, months to the completion date?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think this project was started at 2007, as you really said. It's a wonderful edifice. We are proud of it. But the finishing is just too poor, as I just mentioned. You know, especially the aluminum balustrade, it wasn't the specified material. They use an ordinary chrome material instead of silver chrome material. It's galvanized. I mean, it's getting rusting, and this is a problem that the whole thing has to be removed from the 13th floor to the last floor. When this thing is done, I think the glass doors wasn't so bad. The tiling work was excellent, but the sanitary work was I think it wasn't in a good taste, because looking at this edifice, we can't get in this kind of sanitary waste into these huge buildings. I think it's uncalled for. The whole thing has to change, because I don't like the quality, and it's not good for such an edifice.
Now, I asked the earlier question. I want to put it in context again and re-ask that question. You're talking about $25 million of the taxpayers' money spent in renovating that property. You don't like the way it's looking right now before it's complete. I'm asking, why are we finding out about this now, months to the completion? What sort of supervision did Parliament do to ensure that all along the 25 million was being spent properly?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yep. We just had a come to inspect the building. We did the first inspection last 2 months, and today is the second month that we are inspecting the buildings. You see, we do inspect the buildings when it comes to the final stages. That is why we are giving out a report like this. So the North Share, we did not start the inspection. As is the architects who are handling the project. It's the architects who are handling the project. So we have to come in to ascertain, to see whether the finishing is correct. And what we saw today, the finishing on the tiles, excellent job. But the sanitary waste and the balustrade, that is my problem. That's my problem. If it could be changed, I think we'll have a nice job for the tax year, that there will be a value for money for this project.
Okay, stay on the line for me briefly, sir, Mr. Apia, because I've been joined in the studio by building and safety expert, also the executive director with Safety Ghana, Nana Ano here. Thank you very much, sir, for your time.
It's a pleasure.
You've heard the details.
Yes.
We've had a description of what is bad about this building.
Yes.
I want to understand, how dangerous is it? What are we talking about in terms of safety?
In terms of safety, it's a bit late in the day. Hearing the resident engineer lamenting that they saw sub-standard materials, yet they allowed the contractor to use those substandard materials. And now when the horse has bolted, they're now telling us, oh, it's this and blah, blah, blah. Look, we have a state institution, AESL, who advises government on government projects. What is AESL saying? When the institution that was charged with supervising and making sure that we have value for money. What are they saying? Have you talked to AESL? And what is their take on this? Look, what is going on in this country, Evans? Let me tell you, there's a spoils system going on that the institutions of state that are supposed to check the executive, they are in bed with executives. So instead of doing the right thing, they then do what you say in Ghana, scratch my back and I scratch your back. Because I would not take it for an engineer, with all his training and his background, would say that he detected a substandard material, yet he went ahead and allowed the contractors to use it.
He says the materials that he was talking about, they've already been used. Government has expended money in buying those materials already. So once you've bought it, he found no reason not to use it. Although in his professional opinion, as he was asked, he wouldn't have used that material in the building.
Because you've gone and bought goods that have expired, alcohol, drugs that are expired. Because you've paid money for them, you will use them.
The other question I want to ask, though, just to give us a sense of what the implication of this will be on safety.
Yes.
What is the risk in moving into a structure like that?
You see, as a country, we are not learning. On the back of Malcolm disaster, one would have thought that any public building would have been subjected to geotechnical surveys, safety inspections, and making sure that the building is fit and sound for public usage. You know, you have this Disability Act that the disabled have actually taken government on the N1 that they were not provided for in the N1 design. Now, with the Job 600, is there any provisions for disabled people?
Quickly, I want to ask, you've mentioned that this particular building, just before, whilst we have an interaction about this, yes, that this construction should be suspended and proper investigation is done before any further work is done on this.
Proper inspection, geotechnical inspection and survey should be done to ensure that the building is fit for human occupation.
Let me put that question to the MP on the line. He's a member of the Committee on Works and Housing. Mr. Apia, final question to you. What is going to happen now? We understand there's a meeting that has been called with those in charge of this building, the constructors indeed. But will the construction still go on, or are you suspending, as we're just hearing, so that we do proper investigations to ensure that the entire building is done properly, so we don't have the experience of Malcolm again on our hands? Hello, sir? Hello? Okay. It appears that we've lost the attention there. We don't have him. But that's an important question I wanted to ask him to establish, essentially, what do we do now? Do we suspend it and wait until, as you're asking, we get a proper investigation done before we move on or not? We know there's a meeting on this
Yes.
with the chairman of the Committee on Works and Housing trying to look into what happened.
Yes.
But what should happen now, apart from the investigations? What about those who bought the materials knowing that it was substandard? He had stayed there for 15 years, etc.
Now, Evans, this is a building that dates back from 1960s. It was built in the 60s, and we are doing renovations. So I think the right thing to do is to get independent geotechnical surveyors and safety inspectors to go and do a comprehensive safety audit on that building. And then, after the report is submitted to Parliament, then whether they're going to do some retrofiction or whatever, then that will be acceptable before the building is opened up to the public. But otherwise, it should be suspended and wait until an independent audit is done.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Mehia. Nana Mehia. He's a safety, building safety expert and also the executive director of the Safety Ghana. Nana, thank you for your time. Also, earlier you had Joe Appiah, who is a member of Parliament's Works and Housing Committee. This is a story we're watching pretty closely. And following that meeting that had been called by the chairman of that particular committee, David Asumin. But coming up in 15 minutes on Newsnight, barely 24 hours after the teachers called off their strike, we understand that the doctors are now threatening to also embark on an industrial action. What is happening? We'll be asking that question of the authorities if you join us in 15 minutes on radio. My name is Evans Mensah. Top Stories brought to you by Bond Financial Services, your success of passion, Belacra Mineral Water, a new generation mineral water. Also brought to you by Lifebuoy, still 100% better germ protection, and Blue Rose Limited, shelter for all.